The research station floated in orbit above the blue planet, quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Inside, Dr. Arya Kell, a xenobiologist from the Galactic Union, stood alone in the observation room. She had been studying humans for months, strange creatures, emotional, unpredictable, yet somehow fascinating. On the other side of the glass, a human test subject rested inside a containment pod. His name was Evan Cross, a volunteer brought from Earth for a cross-species compatibility study. Arya had read his file 100 times, but she still couldn't understand how humans could affect other species so deeply. Their pheromones were strong, complex, and different. She adjusted her mask and checked the scanners. Everything looked normal. Oxygen level stable, air filters on. Still, her heart beat faster than usual. "Begin phase 3, she said softly. The chamber filled with a faint mist, a controlled sample of human pheromones. Arya leaned closer to the glass, watching the reaction. Evan stirred, his body reacting instantly, sensors blinking red. The machines beeped, recording data. Arya felt a sudden warmth inside her chest. Her fingers trembled. "Strange," she whispered. She turned off the valve and stepped back, but the warmth grew stronger. Her breathing quickened. The room felt smaller, heavier. She reached for the control panel and froze. A tiny crack ran along her helmet's filter. Wait, no, she tried to seal it, but it was too late. The faint scent entered her lungs. It was warm, sweet, and sharp, like electricity and fire mixed together. Her body shivered. The temperature inside her suit rose. The machines began to beep again, this time warning of contamination. "Dr. Kell, your vitals are unstable." The AI assistant spoke from the console. I'm fine," she said, gripping the edge of the desk. "Just monitor the readings," but she wasn't fine. Her heart was racing out of control. A pulse of heat spread through her veins. Her skin glowed faintly under her pale armor, the blue tint of her alien blood turning warmer, almost pink. She stumbled to the mirror. Her pupils were dilating, changing shape, round, human-like instead of the narrow slits of her species. "What is happening to me?" she whispered. Her body was reacting, changing. It wasn't just heat. It was something deeper. Her DNA scanners flickered on her wrist display. Lines of code shifted, mutating. The pheromones were rewriting her biology. She gasped. "That's impossible. It's not supposed to affect my species." The AI spoke again. "Dr. Kell, your hormonal levels are spiking, suggesting immediate quarantine." She ignored it. Fear mixed with curiosity. She felt stronger, more alive, but also unstable. Every sound, every light, every smell felt amplified. Even the sound of Evan breathing through the glass reached her ears. Her gaze drifted toward him. For a second, she felt drawn, pulled toward the human she had only studied like a subject. She shook her head violently. "No, I'm not like them," she said, but her voice trembled. Suddenly, the alarms blared. The airlock sealed itself automatically. A robotic voice echoed, "Biohazard alert. Containment breach detected." She fell to her knees, panting. The scent still lingered in the air, invisible yet powerful. The changes were accelerating. Her nails lengthened slightly, the ridges on her skin glowing with faint human tones. She could feel emotions flooding her. Confusion, fear, attraction. All at once. Her vision blurred. For a moment she saw flashes, memories that weren't hers. Green forests, human laughter, hands reaching toward hers. "No, this can't be real," she whispered. She crawled toward the emergency kit, trying to inject herself with a neutralizer. The needle broke against her skin. Her biology was already too different. The voice from the console repeated, "Dr. Kell, you are experiencing uncontrolled hormonal transformation. Please remain calm," she screamed. "Shut up," and slammed her hand onto the control panel. Sparks flew. The lights flickered out. For a moment, silence filled the lab. Only her heartbeat echoed in the dark, fast, desperate. Then, something else. Footsteps, not hers. Evan Cross, the human test subject, stood inside the observation chamber, awake, staring through the shattered glass. His eyes met hers. For the first time, he looked afraid. How did you get out?" she whispered. He didn't answer. A gust of air moved between them, the broken filter still leaking faint traces of the pheromone mist. Arya tried to stand, but her legs trembled. Her reflection in the cracked glass showed a face no longer purely alien, half familiar, half unknown. Her transformation had begun, and as the alarms echoed across the silent station, one thought repeated in her mind like a whisper from inside her blood. Humans are more dangerous than we ever imagined. The lights slowly returned inside the research station, one by one flickering to life. Smoke hung in the air from the short-circuited control panel. The silence felt heavy. Dr. Aria Kell pushed herself off the floor, breathing fast. Her reflection in the cracked glass still didn't look right. The blue marks of her alien skin were fading. In their place, soft human tones spread across her face and hands. She pressed her hand to her chest. Her heartbeat felt wrong. Too fast, too loud. The warmth she felt earlier hadn't left. It was stronger now, almost painful. The AI voice spoke softly through the overhead speaker. "Dr. Kell, your biometrics are unstable. Shall I contact the medical unit?"
"No," Arya said sharply.
No one can know. She looked toward the containment pod, empty. Evan Cross was gone. Her mind raced. "He escaped? How?" she whispered. She remembered his eyes, the fear. Or was it something else? She grabbed a scanner from the desk and followed the faint life signals through the corridor. Each step echoed in the metallic hall, her bare feet making soft sounds against the cold floor. The more she walked, the stranger she felt. Her sense of smell had sharpened. She could feel the air, almost taste it. Every scent carried information. Fear, sweat, heat. She followed Evan's trail down to the storage deck. The doors opened with a hiss. He was there and hiding behind a row of cargo crates. When she stepped in, he turned quickly, holding a metal pipe. "Stay back!" He shouted, "Evan, it's me, Dr. Kell." He hesitated. You don't look like her," she paused. Her voice sounded warmer, softer. Even her reflection on the shiny floor looked more human than before. "I'm fine," she lied. "You need to come back to the lab. You're not safe here." He didn't move. "What happened to me? Why did the air smell like that?" "It burned my lungs." Arya tried to think clearly. "It wasn't supposed to affect you. The experiment, something went wrong. I was exposed too." Evan's eyes widened. "You're changing, aren't you?" She looked away. "I don't know." Silence filled the room. Only the sound of machinery humming in the background. Then suddenly Arya gasped. A sharp pain hit her side. She fell to one knee, clutching her ribs. Her breathing became uneven. "Hey! Are you okay?" Evan dropped the pipe and rushed forward. "Stay back!" She shouted, but he didn't listen. He reached for her arm, and when his skin touched hers, something unbelievable happened. Her body reacted instantly. A surge of warmth like static electricity ran between them. Her pulse spiked, and her skin lit up faintly where they touched. She pulled away, terrified. "Don't touch me!" "What's happening to you?" Her mind was spinning. The contact made it worse. The human pheromones were still affecting her. Her body was trying to adapt, to balance between her DNA and his. She stumbled to her feet and backed away. "I need to get to the med lab. I have to reverse this." Evan followed. "You can't go alone. The whole deck is sealed." The AI locked down everything after the alarm. He was right. The system would keep them trapped until it confirmed safety. Arya's breathing slowed a little. She stared at him. He looked human, fragile, yet his presence seemed to change everything around her. Even the air felt different near him. "Fine," she said finally. "You come with me, but don't touch me again." They moved through the dim corridors. The ship felt larger than before, every sound magnified. Arya's senses kept shifting. Hearing footsteps far away, feeling vibrations through the metal floor. She was becoming something new. When they reached the med lab, she entered a code on the panel, but the system refused access. "Security clearance denied," the AI said coldly. "Override command. Kel Sigma 4, she ordered. Voice recognition unstable. Identity mismatch. Arya froze. The system no longer recognized her as herself. Her voice, her biometrics, all changing. Evan looked at her. "It doesn't know who you are anymore." She hit the panel in frustration. "I am Arya Kell," she shouted, but her voice cracked halfway, deeper, almost human. Suddenly, the ship's power flickered again. A red warning light blinked overhead. "Unidentified life form detected on board," the AI announced. "Security drones activated." Both of them looked at each other in shock. Evan whispered, "It thinks you're the intruder." The sound of metal clanking filled the hallway. Drones moving toward them, scanning for the unknown life form. Arya's eyes glowed faintly. Her instincts sharpened. She could sense their movement before they even turned the corner. Her pulse steadied, not from fear, but from something primal awakening inside her. She turned to Evan. "Stay behind me." He hesitated. "What are you going to do?" Arya took a slow breath. "I don't know. But whatever is happening to me, maybe it can save us." The doors slid open with a metallic shriek. 2 drones floated in, scanning red light sweeping across the room. "Target detected," the AI droned. Arya raised her hand, and before she realized what she was doing, the air around her shimmered. A pulse of invisible energy burst outward, knocking both drones into the wall. Sparks flew as metal shattered. She stood frozen, staring at her own hands. What did I just do?" Evan stared at her, speechless. "You're not just changing, Arya. You're evolving." The alarms kept echoing through the ship, but neither of them moved. For the first time, fear and awe mixed in their eyes. Arya looked down at her trembling hands and whispered. The silence after the explosion was deafening. Metal smoke filled the lab and sparks danced across the floor. The 2 security drones lay broken, their glowing eyes dimming to black. Arya Kell stood still, her hand trembling. The energy she released had come from inside her, raw, uncontrolled, and powerful. She could still feel it humming under her skin like a second heartbeat. Evan stared at her with wide eyes. "You destroyed them." Without touching anything, Arya didn't answer. She was breathing hard, trying to understand what had just happened. The scent of ozone hung in the air, mixed with the faint trace of human pheromones that still surrounded them. She whispered, almost to herself, "No alien has ever done this. Not like this." Evan stepped closer. "What does it mean?" She turned her eyes toward him. They glowed faintly golden now, no longer her usual blue. "It means the pheromones didn't just change my body," she said quietly. "They unlocked something inside me, something my species kept buried." Evan frowned. "Buried?" "Yes," she said, walking toward one of the broken drones. "My people once experimented with hybrid DNA. They believed combining alien genes with human essence could create stronger beings, smarter, faster, more adaptable. But the tests failed. The hybrids didn't survive." She paused, touching the shattered metal. "Or at least that's what they told us." Evan looked uneasy. "You think they lied?" Arya nodded slowly. "The data was erased. The topic was forbidden. Anyone who spoke of it disappeared." She stood up, her expression turning cold. "But now I know the truth. I was exposed to human pheromones, and I didn't die. I changed." The lights flickered again, and the AI's damaged voice echoed faintly. "Containment breach unresolved. Genetic anomaly detected." Arya looked at the ceiling. "It's tracking me." "Then we have to leave," Evan said. "Before it sends more drones." Arya nodded. They slipped into the main corridor, moving quickly. The long metal halls were dark and quiet, except for the hum of the station's reactor. Every shadow felt alive. As they walked, Arya noticed something strange, like she could feel the ship. Every vibration, every flicker of current. The sensors were alive in her mind like whispers. She whispered, "I can sense where the drones are." Evan looked at her. "You can?" "Yes, they're searching the lower decks. We're safe for now." He stared at her, amazement and fear mixing in his eyes. "You're becoming something new." Arya gave a faint smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Something dangerous, maybe. They reached the data core, a large circular room filled with glowing panels and holographic screens. The blue light reflected off Arya's half-changed skin. She moved to the console and began typing rapidly. "What are you doing?" Evan asked. "I need to access the restricted archives. If there's any truth about this transformation, it's hidden there." The system scanned her, but again denied access. Identity mismatch. Access denied. She closed her eyes and exhaled slowly. Then she did something unexpected. She placed her glowing hand on the panel. The metal pulsed under her touch, reacting to her new energy. Sparks of light moved across the screen, and suddenly the lock broke. The console opened. Evan blinked. "You just hacked a military archive." "With your hand," Arya smiled faintly. "Guess I'm learning fast." Lines of text filled the screen. Old reports, secret experiments, forbidden names. Her eyes moved quickly, scanning through the data. Then she froze. A file marked Project Eros 1, date 87 years ago. Subject: human genetic resonance and hybrid potential. She opened it. A hologram appeared, a younger scientist speaking to the camera. His voice echoed through the room. Human pheromones show unmatched adaptability. They can trigger dormant genes in alien DNA, awakening lost traits. If controlled, this could lead to biological evolution, the next step of life itself. The video glitched, then cut off. Another note followed. Experiment terminated. All evidence destroyed. Subject X escaped containment. Evan frowned. Subject X? Arya's heart sank as she scrolled. There, under genetic lineage, she found a single note. Subject X bloodline integrated into the Kell family genome. She stepped back in shock. Her hands trembled. "It's me," she whispered. "I'm a descendant of that experiment." Evan looked stunned. "You mean this was inside you all along?" "Yes. My ancestors were hybrids, human and alien. But the human part was locked, dormant, until now." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The truth hung heavy between them. Then the AI's voice returned, louder this time. "Unauthorized access detected. Purge protocol initiated." The lights turned red. The floor vibrated. Panels began to seal automatically. Arya grabbed Evan's hand. "Run!" They sprinted down the corridor as fire suppression foam sprayed from the ceilings. The ship roared around them, systems trying to erase every trace of the forbidden data. Evan coughed. "Where are we going?" "To the escape bay," she said. "If the system purges, this whole deck will be gone in minutes." They reached the hangar, but the door was sealed tight. Arya placed her hand on the control again. Nothing. Her energy was fading. The transformation had drained her strength. She collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Evan knelt beside her. "You have to rest." She shook her head weakly. "If we don't open it, we die here." Evan hesitated, then reached out and covered her hand with his. "Then let's open it together." As their skin touched, a surge of warmth spread through both of them, stronger than before. The console glowed bright white, reacting to the combined energy. With a loud hiss, the hangar door slid open. They fell back, exhausted but alive. The emergency shuttle sat in front of them, ready and waiting. Arya looked at him, her eyes glowing faintly again. "Whatever's happening to me, to us, it's not over." Evan nodded slowly. "Then we find out the truth. Together." Behind them, the research station groaned as explosions echoed through the halls. Fire and light filled the distance, but they didn't look back. They stepped into the shuttle. As the doors sealed and the engines roared to life, Arya stared out the window at the dying station and whispered, "My people tried to hide the truth, but now it's inside me." The shuttle tore away from the burning research station, streaking through the blackness of space. Behind them, explosions rippled across the metal shell as the station crumbled into fire. Arya Kell sat in the pilot's seat, her hands shaking as she tried to control the shuttle. Evan Cross sat beside her, eyes fixed on the wreckage shrinking behind them. "You really destroyed it," he said quietly. Arya didn't answer. Her breathing was still fast, her pulse uneven. Every few seconds, the veins on her neck glowed faintly golden. She could feel her body changing again, deeper this time, stronger. The shuttle rattled as it entered the jump corridor, light stretching into ribbons outside the windows. Evan looked at her nervously. "Are you okay?" "I don't know," she said softly. "It's hard to think. My senses are too sharp. Every sound, every heartbeat. I can hear everything." Her voice trembled slightly. She was trying to hold herself together. She didn't want him to see the fear behind her calm face. Evan hesitated, then said, "You saved me back there. You didn't have to." She turned her head, her eyes glowing faintly. "Maybe I didn't save you. Maybe I saved the only person who can still remind me I'm not a monster." The silence between them grew heavy. The shuttle lights flickered as they moved through hyperspace. After a long pause, Arya finally said, "The Galactic Union will come for us. They don't allow hybrids. They destroy anything they can't control." Evan frowned. "Then we can't go back to them. Where do we go?" She looked at the stars streaking outside. "Somewhere they won't find us." Hours passed. The jump drive finally slowed, and the shuttle exited hyperspace near a cluster of red moons. The navigation screen blinked. No known records. A dead zone. Arya sighed in relief. No signals. No tracking. "We're safe, for now." But as she leaned back, pain hit her chest again. She gasped, clutching her side. Evan reached for her shoulder. "Hey, stay with me. What's happening?" Her body glowed faintly. "It's another change. The pheromones, they're rewriting my DNA again. He hesitated, unsure what to do. Can I help? She shook her head, but her voice broke. Just don't let me lose control. Her skin pulsed with light. The temperature in the cabin rose. Every nerve in her body screamed. She could feel new senses awakening. Energy patterns, electromagnetic fields, even the faint pulse of Evan's heartbeat like a song she couldn't ignore. "Aria," Evan shouted, holding her steady as she trembled. Her eyes opened suddenly, golden fire swirling inside. The shaking stopped. The glow faded slowly, replaced by calm. She looked around, disoriented but breathing evenly again. Evan stepped back cautiously. "Are you still you?" She gave a faint smile. "Mostly," he laughed weakly. "That's not very comforting." Aria sat upright. "The transformation is stabilizing. I think my body has accepted the human DNA." "So it's over?" She shook her head. "No, it's only the beginning." A loud beep interrupted them. The radar flashed red, incoming signal detected. Evan frowned. "You said we were in a dead zone." "I thought we were," Aria said, checking the screen. Her expression changed. "They found us." A Union Hunter-class ship appeared on the scanner, closing in fast. Evan's eyes widened. "What do we do?" Aria's mind raced. "We can't outrun it. But maybe." She paused, looking at the strange light still faintly glowing under her skin. "Maybe I can try something new." She stood up, closing her eyes. The hum of the shuttle deepened as if reacting to her thoughts. The controls flickered to life on their own. Evan watched in disbelief. "You're connecting to the ship?" Aria nodded slowly. "It's not just my body that changed. My mind, I can link with technology now." The human DNA awakened neural resonance. The ship trembled as she focused. The energy around her built up, visible like faint golden waves in the air. Outside, the Hunter ship fired. Bright plasma bolts streaked toward them. Aria opened her eyes, and the shuttle moved on its own, swerving gracefully through the shots. Evan grabbed his seat, shouting, "You're flying without touching the controls." She smiled faintly. "I told you. I'm not the same anymore," but the enemy ship was faster. It fired again, this time locking onto their energy trail. A missile streaked forward, closing in. Aria focused harder. The glow from her body flared. For a moment, time seemed to slow. She could see the path of the missile, the energy pattern inside it. With a sharp motion of her hand, she sent a wave of energy through the shuttle's hull. The missile exploded before reaching them, a silent bloom of fire in space. Evan was speechless. "You deflected a missile with your mind." Aria fell back into her seat, breathing heavily. "It takes too much energy. I can't keep doing that." The Hunter ship was still coming. Its weapons charged again. Evan looked around the console. "There has to be something we can use." Aria's eyes landed on an old coordinate beacon. "There's a planet nearby, Mira 7, abandoned mining world. We can hide there." She pulled the lever and the shuttle dove toward the red moons. The Hunter followed, firing again. Flames streaked across the sky as they entered the planet's thin atmosphere. The surface below was dark. Red dust, broken towers, and dead machines buried in sand. They landed hard, skidding across the ground. The engine screamed and then went silent. Aria exhaled. "We made it." Evan looked out the window. The Hunter ship was still circling above. "For how long?" Aria stared at the dusty horizon. "Until I'm strong enough to fight back." She stepped out of the shuttle. The wind was warm and dry, carrying the scent of rust and stone. The world was silent, but something deep beneath the surface hummed faintly like a heartbeat. Evan followed her. "What is this place?" She turned to him, her golden eyes glowing under the red sky. "A graveyard," she said softly, "of machines built by my people long ago." Evan looked uneasy. "You think they'll help us?" Aria's lips curved into a small, mysterious smile. "No, but maybe I can wake them." The red wind howled across the surface of Mira 7, carrying dust and echoes of old metal. Broken towers stood like bones of a forgotten age. The planet was silent. No birds, no clouds, no signs of life. Aria Kell walked ahead, her golden, glowing eyes scanning the endless ruins. The ground beneath her boots was warm, vibrating faintly like something deep below was still alive. Evan Cross followed behind, holding a small scanner in his hand. "This place gives me chills," he said quietly. "Feels like it's watching us." Aria didn't reply. She could feel it too. The air hummed soft and low, almost like a heartbeat hiding beneath the sand. Every few seconds, a faint pulse of energy brushed against her skin, ancient, mechanical, and familiar. They moved deeper into the ruins until they reached a half-buried structure. The walls were smooth black stone, etched with alien symbols that glowed faintly under Arya's touch. "This is Union design," she whispered. "Old, from before the expansion wars." Evan frowned. "You mean your people built this?" She nodded. "Maybe. But it looks older than anything recorded." The entrance was blocked by a massive door. Arya placed her palm on the cold metal. A faint glow spread from her hand, flowing into the door like liquid light. With a deep echoing rumble, the metal slowly slid open. Inside, the air was still and heavy. Rows of dark machines lined the walls, covered in dust and age. In the center stood a huge circular console, silent but pulsing faintly with energy. Evan looked around nervously. "You sure we should be here?" Arya didn't answer. She walked up to the console and touched it again. The glow from her skin spread across its surface, and suddenly, the entire room came alive. Lights flickered on. The machines hummed. Holographic data filled the air, spinning like blue ghosts. A deep, calm voice echoed from the walls. Identity recognized. "Welcome back, Arya Kell." Evan jumped. "It knows your name." Arya froze. "That's not possible. The station has been dead for centuries," the voice continued. "Biological signature detected. Hybrid genome confirmed. You are the continuation of Project Eros 1. Arya's breath caught in her throat. "Project Eros 1. Evan looked at her. "That's the same project from the lab, right? The one they erased?" "Yes," she said softly. "And this machine just confirmed it." The console projected a hologram. An old alien scientist, transparent and glowing blue. His voice was calm, full of quiet sadness. "If you are hearing this, it means our creation survived. We failed to control it, but perhaps evolution had a different plan. The hybrid gene, the bridge between human and alien, was never meant for war. It was meant for understanding." The hologram flickered. "Humans were not the danger. We were afraid of what their nature could awaken in us." Arya's eyes widened. "Afraid? Emotion, empathy, instinct. These are strengths we tried to erase from ourselves. But in humans they thrive. The hybrid carries the best of both. Reason and feeling, logic and love. That is why the Union destroyed the project. They feared becoming something they could no longer control." The recording ended. Silence filled the room. Evan looked at her carefully. "So, you're proof that both species can exist as one?" Arya shook her head slowly. "No. I'm proof that they can't hide from what they fear forever." Her golden light pulsed brighter for a moment, then faded. She turned back to the console. "This machine, it's still connected to the old Union network. Maybe it can tell us what's coming next." She placed her hands on the interface. Data flooded the air. Maps, signals, encrypted messages. Her mind absorbed it faster than any computer. Then her expression changed. "They're coming," Evan tensed. "Who?" "The Galactic Union fleet. They tracked the shuttle's jump signature. They'll reach Mira 7 in less than an hour." Evan's heart raced. "We can't fight a fleet!" Arya's eyes narrowed. "Maybe we don't have to." She turned toward the ancient machines. "These constructs were once used to control planetary defenses. If I can awaken them, they might buy us time." Evan shook his head. "You're not sure if they'll even work." She smiled faintly. "I wasn't sure I'd survive inhaling human pheromones either." He gave a nervous laugh. "Fair point." Arya connected her glowing hand to the main conduit. The energy field rippled outward. One by one, the dormant machines began to stir, eyes of old war drones flickering with light. The ground vibrated. The console's voice returned. "Warning. Reactivation may destabilize planetary core." Arya's expression hardened. "Do it anyway," Evan shouted. "Arya, if this planet collapses, it's already dead." She interrupted. "But we're not." Electric light surged across the floor. Outside, dust storms began to swirl in perfect circles as giant buried machines rose from the sand. Metallic titans with glowing cores. Evan ran to her side. "They're moving!" Arya's eyes glowed like twin suns. Then let them remember who they were built for. High above the surface, the Union fleet arrived, sharp silver ships cutting through the red clouds. Their leader's voice echoed through the comms. "Target located. Terminate the hybrid." On the ground, Arya stood tall on the platform, wind blowing through her hair, golden light flickering from her body. The massive war machines behind her turned their heads, awaiting her command. Evan stared in awe. "They're waiting for you to lead them," she whispered. "Maybe that's why I was born." The first plasma blasts rained down from the sky, but before they could hit, the giant machines raised glowing shields of light. Protecting her and Evan, Arya lifted her hand. "For every secret they buried, I'll make them see the truth." Her voice echoed through the air as the machines charged their weapons, light spreading across the desert like a second sunrise. The war for Mira 7 had begun, and as the first battle erupted between the stars and the sand, one thing was clear. Arya was no longer running from her transformation, she was becoming its destiny. The sky above Mira 7 was burning red. Clouds of dust twisted around beams of light as the first plasma strikes hit the planet's surface. Each blast shook the ground like thunder. Dr. Arya Kell stood at the center of the ancient ruins, golden light spilling from her hands. Behind her, the awakened war machines towered like metallic giants, their cores pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Evan Cross crouched behind a broken column, watching the sky. "There are hundreds of them," he shouted over the roar. "I know," Arya replied, her voice calm but fierce. "That's why I woke the Guardians." The machines turned their heads toward her, awaiting her next command. She felt the network in her mind, hundreds of mechanical thoughts whispering together. They recognized her as both master and kin. When the next wave of ships descended, she raised her hand. "Defend Mira 7. The Guardians moved. Energy cannons rose from their arms and fired upward. Brilliant streams of light cut through the clouds, meeting the Union ships in midair. Explosions painted the sky in fire. Evan shielded his eyes. "You're controlling all of them." Arya grimaced. "No, they're listening, but only because they sense what I've become." Her voice shook slightly. The power inside her felt endless, yet dangerous. Each second she commanded them, more of her body shimmered with golden lines, as if energy itself was carving through her veins. Inside the command ship above, Admiral Tarek of the Galactic Union watched the chaos unfold. "Impossible," he muttered. "The Guardians were buried centuries ago." An officer replied, "Sir, the readings show a hybrid life form directing them. She's bonded to the planet's network." Tarek's eyes narrowed. "Then cut the planet off. Fire the orbital disruptor." The officer hesitated. "That will destroy everything down there, sir." "Do it," Tarek ordered coldly. No hybrid survives today. Down below, Arya felt the shift in the sky, a heavy vibration deeper than thunder. She looked up and saw a massive beam forming above the clouds, bright enough to blind. "They're going to burn the planet," she whispered. Evan ran to her side. "Can you stop it?" She closed her eyes. "Maybe. If I connect deeper." He grabbed her arm. "That almost killed you last time." She looked at him, half-human eyes glowing like molten gold. "If I don't, everyone dies." Without waiting for his reply, Arya stepped onto the platform and spread her hands wide. The ground beneath her lit up with ancient runes. Energy surged from the machines into her body, flooding her with unbearable power. Her scream echoed through the valley, a mix of pain and raw strength. The Guardians responded instantly. Their energy cores blazed brighter, sending massive beams into the sky to counter the Union weapon. The air cracked apart. Light met light, creating a blinding storm that swallowed the horizon. Evan stumbled back, shouting her name, but she didn't hear him. Inside her mind there was only noise. Voices of machines, whispers of her ancestors, fragments of forgotten memories. Then she heard another voice. Soft, familiar. Arya. It wasn't the machines. It was human. Evan's voice, but deeper, resonating inside her mind instead of her ears. She opened her eyes, startled. "Evan?" He froze. "You heard that? How did you—" Before she could finish, the ground split open. Energy erupted around them. Arya fell, but Evan caught her, and as he did, his skin flickered with faint light, her eyes widened. "You're glowing." He looked down at his hands, terrified. "What's happening to me?" Arya stared, realization dawning. "You're not just human," he shook his head. "I don't understand." But deep inside her mind, the old machine's voice returned, calm and cold. "Hybrid link detected. Second genome active," Arya gasped. You were part of the experiment too. Evan stepped back. No, I was born on Earth. She interrupted softly. You were designed to find me. The air between them vibrated with energy. Their combined resonance was rising, feeding into the planet's network. The guardians around them began to glow even brighter, responding to the twin frequencies of their blood. In orbit, Admiral Tarek watched in horror as his disruptor beam started bending backward, redirected by the planet's core. That's not possible, he shouted, but it was. Down on Mira 7, Arya and Evan stood together as light poured from their joined hands. The energy pulsed up through the ruins into the sky and met the Union weapon head-on. The collision created a shockwave that split the clouds apart. The orbital beam shattered like glass. The Union ship spun out of control, their systems fried by the surge. Evan collapsed to his knees, gasping. Did we stop it? Arya knelt beside him, still glowing faintly. Yes, but look. The ground around them was cracking. The energy that saved them was now tearing Mira 7 apart. We triggered a chain reaction, she said quietly. The planet's core is unstable. Evan looked up at her, fear and admiration mixed in his eyes. What do we do? Arya looked toward the sky, watching the crippled Union fleet retreat. They'll be back, stronger. If we stay, we die. But if we leave? She looked at her glowing hands. We could find where this power really came from. Evan tried to stand. You think someone made us for a reason? Arya nodded. No one creates life without purpose. We just have to discover whose purpose it was. The guardians around them began sinking back into the sand, their energy fading as the planet groaned. The red wind howled louder. Arya helped Evan to his feet. Together they ran toward the shuttle as the ground split behind them. Rocks tumbled. Fire burst from the cracks. They leapt inside and sealed the hatch. The engines roared to life. As the shuttle lifted off, Mira 7 collapsed beneath them, a dying world glowing with golden fire. From the cockpit window, Arya watched the planet shrink into darkness. Another secret buried, she whispered. Evan looked at her, exhaustion in his eyes. Then where do we go now? She turned toward the stars, thousands of them shining like open doors. Somewhere they can't erase the truth, she said softly. Because I think the real war isn't between humans and aliens. It's between creators and their creations. Evan met her gaze. For a long moment neither spoke. Outside, space stretched endless and silent, but both of them felt the same pull, the same strange connection tying their fates together. The hybrid war had only just begun. The stars looked peaceful, almost innocent as the shuttle drifted through open space. But inside, both Arya Kell and Evan Cross knew peace was only an illusion. Mira 7 was gone, swallowed by its own energy, and now the universe would start asking questions the Galactic Union had spent centuries trying to bury. Arya sat in the pilot's seat, silent. Her golden eyes dimmed slightly, her energy low but stable. The last battle had changed her forever. The connection between her and Evan now felt stronger than thought, like their minds were threads in the same web. Evan watched her carefully. You haven't said a word in hours, she smiled faintly. Because I can hear your thoughts, he blinked. You're serious? Arya nodded. Your mind isn't loud, it's calm. Like gravity, Evan laughed softly. That's one way to describe being terrified. Her smile faded as she looked at the endless stars ahead. No, you're not terrified. You're curious, just like me. For a few minutes, silence returned, calm but heavy. Then a soft alarm beeped from the console, a signal. Weak but repeating. Evan leaned closer. It's coming from the edge of the Lyra system. Old coordinates, Arya frowned. That's impossible. That sector's been dead for 100 years. The signal repeated again, a simple pattern of tones. 3 long, 2 short, 1 long. She knew it instantly. Her voice was barely a whisper. That's Union emergency code for Genesis protocol. Evan frowned. Genesis? Like creation? Arya looked at him. It's not just a word. It's the name of the original lab where Project Eros 1 began. His eyes widened. You mean, where you and I were made? She nodded slowly. If we follow it, we might finally get answers. Hours later, the shuttle entered the Lyra system. The stars dimmed as they approached a dying sun, and orbiting it was a broken ring station, enormous, hollow, and ancient. The signal grew stronger. Arya's voice trembled slightly. That's it. Genesis Station. They docked near a collapsed hangar. The interior lights flickered to life as if recognizing her presence. Dust floated like ghosts through the air. This place hasn't been touched in decades, Evan murmured. They moved cautiously through long hallways filled with empty pods and silent monitors. The walls were engraved with the same alien-human script Arya had seen before. Finally, they reached the core chamber. A single machine stood at the center. Tall, glowing faintly, its surface pulsing like a heartbeat. Arya stepped forward. This is where it began. Before she could touch it, the machine came alive. A holographic figure appeared, an older man with calm gray eyes. Welcome home, Subject A and Subject B, it said. Evan froze. It knows me too, Arya whispered. Subject A? That's me. Subject B must be... The hologram continued, its voice deep and tired. You were never meant to meet. You were created as opposite halves of a single design. One from alien blood and logic control, the other from human DNA, emotion, instinct. Together you form balance. Evolution itself, Evan's voice shook. You're saying we're two sides of one being? Not just beings, the hologram replied. You are the prototypes of what life could become, a bridge between worlds. But the Union feared unity. They destroyed this place and erased your existence. Arya stepped closer. Who are you? I was the scientist who began Project Eros 1. But I am only a recording now. My final command was to awaken when both of you returned. Evan clenched his fists. Returned for what? To finish the Genesis protocol. The hologram projected new data into the air. A swirling map of the galaxy filled with glowing points. These are the hidden hybrid nodes, it said. Thousands of dormant genes scattered among humans and aliens. With your combined resonance, you can awaken them all. You can end the separation. You can unite every intelligent species. Arya's heart pounded. Unite or control? The hologram's expression darkened. That choice is yours. The lights flickered violently. The hologram's voice glitched. Warning. Union fleet approaching. They have followed your trail. Evan cursed under his breath. We're out of time. Arya looked at the glowing map. The chance to change everything. Then at Evan. If we activate the Genesis wave, it'll rewrite billions of lives. Every mind will feel what we feel, connection, emotion, unity. Evan stared at her. Or we destroy it and no one will ever know we existed. Silence filled the chamber. The machine hummed softly, waiting for a command. Finally, Arya said, We can't force evolution. It has to be chosen, Evan nodded slowly. Then we end it here. They stepped forward together, placing their hands on the core. Energy flared, reacting to their hybrid DNA. The machine shook violently as systems began to overload. Above the station, the Union fleet arrived, hundreds of ships surrounding the ring. Inside, the hologram's final words echoed through the static. If you destroy this, the universe will forget you. But sometimes forgetting is the price of peace. Arya looked at Evan one last time. You ready? He smiled faintly. Only if you are. They pressed their hands deeper into the core. Light engulfed them both. Bright, endless, pure. Outside, the fleet saw the entire station explode into golden fire. The blast expanded but didn't destroy. It turned into a wave of light that spread across the stars, erasing every trace of the hybrid's existence. And with it, the data of Project Eros 1. When the light faded, Genesis Station was gone. Only calm space remained. Far away on a distant world, a young human girl woke suddenly from a dream. Her eyes shimmered gold for just a second before fading back to normal. She didn't know why, but she whispered two words softly in her sleep. Arya Kell. And somewhere in the endless dark of space, a faint echo replied, not in sound but in feeling. Connection. The hybrid story had ended, but evolution had already begun.